Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening around the world. My name is Ann Feinstein, and I'm going to be your host for this evening for our wonderful, exciting, special presentation, Be the Breakthrough, Why Rain, Why Now? This has been an informal chat with a very dear friend of mine, a legend in our industry, Mr. Randy Gage. And so before we get started tonight, just want to do a few housekeeping, and that is if you're here as an Italian part of our group tonight, then go down below and you'll see that it says interpretation, or you go to the more, click that, you'll see interpretation and choose the German sign there, and you'll get the Italian translation for tonight's program. And so, guys, I'm so delighted to have all of you with us this evening. I would love to see where everyone is calling in from. So if you haven't logged in and told us what country, where you're calling in from, please do so in the chat below, as I see people calling in from the US, Canada, Mexico, all over Europe. How exciting is that? Even over to Southeast Asia. Guys, I want to say a big welcome to all of you. And okay, everybody good now? Great. I want you to buckle up your seats, okay? Because tonight we have a very special presentation from a very dear friend of mine who I've had a chance to work with, to partner up with, to go through some of the most incredible highs and some of the most amazing challenges over the last 30 years. And I have to tell you that it's during times like that that you see a person's character, their integrity, their leadership, and their talents. And I want to say that tonight we have the wonderful opportunity to be hearing from someone that we all consider to be one of the greatest network marketers in the world. And he is arguably trained and really perfected the industry, and to given so many top level performers an opportunity to learn from him, to become millionaires more than anyone else on earth. And I can tell you that, he's done this with such grace, having written 15 best-selling books, having been the first person to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for our direct selling profession. And he's produced literally billions, that's with a B, a capital B, billions of dollars for the companies that he's worked with around the world during his career. So with that type of an illustrious career and track record, he could have chosen any company to join. With that reputation, track record of success, and such a well-renowned respect in the industry. But he chose one particular company, and you're going to hear about that tonight. He chose Rain International. And so I am so delighted to be able to introduce to you my friend, my business team partner, and a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful opportunity to introduce him to all of you. So with that, over to my friend, Randy Gage.
Fair warning, what you're about to see and hear is not the standard Rain opportunity presentation. I won't have a slick PowerPoint deck. I will show a couple of slides. I won't follow a standardized procedure, which we have set up, because tonight is different. For those of you who don't know, Ann and I made the public announcement a couple of weeks ago that we were coming out of a semi-retirement, and I was going to go in the field and was going to go in the field, and it kind of shook up the profession. My phone has been blowing up ever since. A lot of people have been hearing a lot of things, and we're going to start a weekly leadership academy where we will be following a regular format. This is actually the first one for North America, but as you see, we do have people from many other spots around the world who have joined, because this is kind of a special one, because I'm just going to be talking informally about why I joined Rain, because I use mental models. I don't do things just based on emotion or just based on some quick intuition. So tonight is very special. This is a unique, one-of-a-kind presentation. You'll never hear it anywhere else, anything like this again. You'll learn about a purple swan event that could make you wealthy for your rest of your life. I want to take you behind the scenes and go through the mental models, the lattice work of interconnecting mental models that I used to make that choice. And I also want to share two or three of the most common foolish mistakes that people make in network marketing. And I will be totally transparent and tell you I have a secret selfish motivation for this presentation. We're recording it, and I need it as self-defense for all my friends who keep calling me and saying, how come you joined RAIN? How come you didn't join my company? I thought we've been friends for 5 years or 12 years or 20 years. How come you didn't join my company? And I'm just going to tell them it didn't fit the mental models. Watch this presentation and you'll see why I chose RAIN. Because I love the profession. This profession took me from a high school dropout who started minimum wage washing dishes at a pancake house and became one of the wealthiest people in society. I love this profession, and I love the other companies in this profession. Yet my friends call me and say, well, okay, but what's wrong with my company? Tell me what's wrong with my company, why you didn't join. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to tear down any other company. I joined RAIN simply because of the attributes of RAIN. Because I do mental models, and that's how this came about. Casey, would you put up the first slide? Here's the premise of everything we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to make a premise, a hypothesis, and then I'm going to prosecute the case of why I believe that premise is true. So here's the premise. There will be several inflection points in your lifetime. These are situations where if you're prepared and you're willing to act fast at scale, you can unleash asymmetrical leverage and create a legacy income. By a legacy income, I mean an income that's a cash flow machine that you could will to your children or your grandchildren. And you see, I talked about asymmetrical leverage. The reason being, I like to say my day job is really teaching the principles of prosperity. I've been studying prosperity for 30 some years. A lot of my books are about prosperity. And I have a lot of really strong opinions on how you manifest prosperity. And one of the staples I think of investing, building wealth, is the concept of asymmetrical risk. Meaning, if you bought Amazon or Apple or Google or Facebook when it came out, right, you might have invested a few $1,000s to make millions of dollars or even tens of millions of dollars. It's a very asymmetrical risk. Some of those you could have invested $10,000 in, and if you lost everything, you'd lose $10,000. But if you win, the way many people did with those kind of companies, you made tens of millions. That's an asymmetrical risk. And it's something that I learned as I became financially literate, as I learned how to build wealth. So that's the premise. Now Casey, if you pull up the second slide, here's my posit. or my theory or my hypotheses, that RAIN International can be one of those inflection points for you. And understand, I make this statement as somebody with tremendous domain expertise in the space, as you heard from Anne in the introduction she did. And not only do I have a lot of expertise, I've got a lot of experience, and I have done what we've just talked about. In other words, I have made those decisions in the asymmetrical risk and came out on top, not once, but multiple times. So I tell you that not to pat myself on the back. I just want you to know who you're hearing from, that this isn't some abstract thing. I hope this is something I'm very knowledgeable about and qualified to speak on. So let's talk about this lattice work of mental models. One of the original brilliant people in the world was Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin used mental models of economics, of psychology, history. He looked at things, and he was one of the most brilliant people. He invented, he wrote, he was the founder of the country. He was there for the most important decisions and actions that when the United States declared its independence. You know, even today, his writings and his work is still respected. And one of the people who was one of the biggest fans of Benjamin Franklin was a guy named Charlie Munger. Now, Charlie was the partner. He just died very recently at like 99 or 100 years old. Charlie and Warren Buffett, his partner at Berkshire Hathaway, are without a doubt, without question, the most successful investors in the world. And they did that using mental models. So our friend Benjamin Franklin, he had written a book which was called Poor Richard's Almanac. And it talked about many of his mental models. I bet a lot of people in this room probably studied it when you went to college. Well, so Charlie Munger was this huge fan of Benjamin Franklin and the mental frameworks. And he is featured in this book called Poor Charlie's Almanac. This book weighs like 4 pounds, okay? This is the expanded third edition. This is one of the most valuable books I have ever owned. I've had thousands of books over here, okay? And I buy 10 books a week sometimes. And I look at them, I read them, and then I give them away. But there's some books that I never give away, even though I might have moved 3 times and donated dozens of boxes of books to the library. This book will never leave my collection because of the brilliant mental models that Charlie Munger used. So he would study history, economics, psychology, mathematics, and he would create mental models for them. And then when the mental models intertwine or overlap or create a lattice work, that's what he used to make the decisions of the companies that he and Warren would invest in. And I worship or idolize Charlie the way he did Benjamin Franklin. And I adopted that mental model strategy many years ago when I first read the book. So when I make a decision, like what network marketing company can I go to that I could bring people to and know that they are safe and know that they can prosper and know that it has integrity and it'll be there for the long haul and it will help meet their needs and provide a higher value. I use probably about 75 mental models. So I have this lattice work of 75 different mental models. And like Charlie and like Richard, I look at history because history may not repeat itself, but it rhymes. There are lessons we could learn in the Great Depression that we could also learn in the Great Recession, in Black Monday, in difficult economic times like now. So I look at history, but I also look at the history of our profession. What has been happening in the space since 1956, when Dr. Forrest Shackley began what became the Shackley Corporation, when the two guys in Michigan started what turned into the Amway Corporation in 1959. I look at economics. I have mental models about economics. I have mental models about economics in direct selling. Mental models of psychology. What causes people to act? What happens when you're sitting across the table from somebody at a Starbucks and they take out their credit card and say, yes, I want to enroll? When they're in a home meeting, a Zoom meeting like this, in a big ballroom with 2,000 people, or watching a Facebook Live with 10,000 people, what causes them to say, I want to join this? I have a lot of mental models about the laws of prosperity, because that's been my work for 30 years. I look at potential market size, product viability, the 5 necessary metrics that cause network marketing companies to go into exponential growth, and many more. So like I say, I have about 75. What I'm going to do tonight in this informal chat is I'm going to share some of the main ones. When Charlie Munger found the right fit, he called it the Lollapalooza effect. He would take the model of history and economics and psychology and how people buy stocks and how people sell stocks. And when they all pointed in one direction, he said, that's the Lollapalooza effect. And he would buy stock shares in that company. In my mental models, what the equivalent of the Lollapalooza effect is that the company will go into exponential growth. And that's the posit that I'm making tonight with this. Again, like I say, this isn't a slick presentation. It's really designed for my team. I wanted to share with them. Here's why I chose RAIN and why I recommend it to you. And I want them to be able to play this video for people that they would like to show the RAIN products an opportunity to. And like I say, for my friends who are like, why didn't you join my company? I'm just going to say, I followed the mental models. So let's begin with one of the first ones, which is the company model. You know, the types of companies that we have in our space. So Case, if you could put up the next slide. There are 4 categories of companies as we would look at it in our profession. Here's how I would break them down. Top left corner, you see dead on arrival. They launch, the product doesn't gain acceptance, maybe they run out of money, maybe they don't do the business with integrity, maybe the comp plan doesn't work. They end up going out of business. And we know if 1,000 companies start this year, 800 or 900 of them are going to be dead on arrival. So obviously, you always want to avoid one of those companies. The second one, the top right corner, that's what I call the flatline companies. They reached a certain position in the marketplace, but they're not going anywhere. Their sales are flat. And the only way they show increase is they keep adding new countries. So now they open in a new country, so the sales look higher, but the truth is in all the markets they're operating, the sales are flat, or many times they're going down, and they cover up the decline by opening up new markets. Bottom left corner, the bottle rocket companies. Those are the ones they start off, they're growing, they look sexy, they might even have that big jump up, and it looks like they're going to be the exponential growth company, but the foundational metrics aren't there and they die. Think of Equinox. At one time, that was a hot, sexy company. Burn Lounge was going to be the next multi-billion-dollar juggernaut. Think back to Monavie. They went into that exponential growth thing, and they were the buzz, and everybody talked about them. But where are they all today? They're gone. You don't want to join a bottle rocket company. And then the bottom right corner, of course, we have the holy grail of network marketing, which is the exponential growth companies. They're the ones that start, they build, they build, they build, they reach a kind of a critical mass, and the growth is almost vertical. And they're just, those are the holy grail. Those are the companies everybody wants to join. And of course so today's Thursday night, right? Whatever town you're in, you could go around to 10 different hotels, and there will be a bunch of network marketing companies doing meetings tonight, opportunity meetings. They get on Facebook and Zoom. There'll be hundreds of companies doing presentations tonight, and they all will be telling you they're going to be the next exponential growth company. They're not lying to you. They actually believe that. But they believe that because they're a little delusional, because they don't know the business, because they're maybe over optimistic. I have been part of the teams that have created exponential growth. So I want you to know when I talk about this, it's from a serious domain expertise. So if we were going to put rain somewhere on this chart, let's be honest, it would be in the top right corner. We'd say, hey, Rain is a flatline company. They've been around for like 13 years and, incrementally growing, but nothing too sexy. Why would Randy join a flatline company? Why would Ann Feinstein join a flatline company? Those are the calls I'm getting. Gage, explain it to me. Why, of all the companies, would you join Rain International? Because I believe Rain International is going to be a purple swan event. Now, you can take down the slide case. Let me tell you what I mean by that. Think of investing, wealth building, the stock market. There's a thing they call black swan events. Black Monday was a black swan event. The Great Recession, 2008, black swan event. The Great Depression, that was a black swan event. So black swan events are unpredictable. No one is expecting to happen, and they have severe negative consequences. There's another thing that they call the white swan. Now, the bad ones, they call the black swans because black swans are very rare. You almost never see them, right? And for a long time, people didn't even believe they existed. They thought all swans were white or gray. So white swan events are predictable events. So in other words, and they're positive. So if you look like right now, here's an example of a white swan event company would be NVIDIA, right? They make processors and they sell computing power is in essence what they do. They sell computing power. Well, with artificial intelligence and the growth of the internet and broadband, we just have this voracious supply needed of black swan events.
You've got to hear this.
Jeffrey, can you mute? But I'm glad you got Abby in there to hear this because she needs to hear this. Get it out from the rooftops. All right. So what's a white swan event? That's a good thing. So like if you invested in NVIDIA, that's one of those amazing. The last time I checked, they were worth $2.2 trillion. They're like one of the top 5 most valuable companies in the world. But 3 years ago, if you asked anyone on the street, what's NVIDIA? They never heard of them. So a black swan event would be like the Great Depression. A white swan event would be like the, NVIDIA, where the market is predictable. If you can just look around the corner, you can kind of predict the future. Well, I don't think Ring is a black swan event company, and I don't think it's a white swan event company. I think it's a purple swan event company. So Case, if you could pull up the next slide, please. Now, what is a purple swan? You probably never heard of that. That's because I just coined the term. And I believe it is when a long-term flatline company, something happens, something changes that will allow it to go into exponential growth. And a purple swan company would be going from flatline to gold mine. And that's what we're talking about with Rain International. That's the case that I'm going to prosecute tonight, that this is a purple swan company. And you say, where did I get the name? Well, the purple swan is related to the purple cow. If you ever read Seth Godin's book, Purple Cow, about remarkable companies, remarkable things, meaning what makes something remarkable is people remark about it. And what's been happening for the last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of people remarking about Rain International. But I'm telling you, that's just the beginning because there's going to be thousands of people remarking about Rain, and then tens of thousands of people, and then millions of people. Because what happened 2 weeks ago was the official liftoff of Rain 2.0. It was the result of Ann and I consulting with the company for the last year, building out infrastructure, building out systems, building out tools. It's the culmination of Jeff Higginson taking over as the president of Rain. 2.0 changes everything. So this is why I believe Rain goes back to that original premise. Let me find my note. The original premise. There will be several inflection points in your lifetime. Situations where if you're prepared and you're willing to act fast at scale, you can unleash asymmetrical leverage and create a legacy income. All right, so now I might be crazy. Let's find out. Let me share what are the mental models that would lead me to not only say such a thing, but how I came to believe such a thing, because I believe it. So here's some of the interlocking models, the mental models. The first one is the good character model. Plain and simple. First thing I look at in a company, the very first thing, and this was a lesson I learned hard. The first thing I look at is not the compensation plan. It's not even the product line. The first thing I look at for the model when I'm evaluating a company is, are they good people? Because if they're good people, whatever happens, if there's a problem with the comp plan, they'll fix it. If there's a problem with the product production, they'll fix it. If there's a regulatory issue, if there's a supply chain issue, if bad things happen, good people make them right. So I look for, is it good people? Do they have a history of a bunch of lawsuits? Do they have a history of a bunch of regulatory troubles? Who are the people behind the company? And I looked at Rain, and the first thing that drew me to it was Jeff Higginson, the man who took over as president almost a year ago. I worked with Jeff 20 years ago. We together with Ann Feinstein and I, we worked with Jeff and we created one of the greatest success stories that network marketing has ever seen. And I still believe that had that company not be sold, it would be a unicorn company, one of those multi-billion-dollar companies, and we'd have millions of people around the world that we were helping with the business opportunity and the products. Jeff is a wartime CEO. I saw him when he had to fix that company, when the first CEO was fired and the company was in chaos. Jeff was brought in with another guy named Jeremiah, and they turned that thing around. And I saw what he did to protect the team and make things right. He's a brilliant, just a brilliant leader. He's a coach at heart. That's what he loves to do. He coaches Little League and baseball and football and everything. And he does the same thing in our business. He coaches his team. The next person I didn't meet till a year ago, and that's Travis Perry, the co-founder of Rain, the controlling interest, the owner. This is the guy who put up the money. And he's just a prince. I just adore this man. And I respect him so much. And he's an incredible entrepreneur. Most people don't know he built one of the most successful product formulation companies the world has ever seen. He made the products for that company we worked with Jeff back in the day. His company made the products for Rain. His company made products for some of the biggest companies in network marketing, which I won't even name because I don't want to get him into trouble. But he was always in the background because he made products for all those other companies. So he had to stay out of Rain. He sold that company maybe a year and a half ago for a sum of money that is life-changing money. This man never has to work again. He has no need to do anything. He could just take a plane to Ibiza and take a pill with, Avicii and hang out with his Learjets and buy 5 Lamborghinis. And he doesn't care about any of that stuff. If you met him, you wouldn't even know he was wealthy. I went to Las Vegas. We had a weekend. Ann and I and Jeff, we met Travis in Las Vegas to kind of have a weekend, celebrate our partnership together. Travis flew coach. He flew coach to get there because it was a short flight. And that's how he is. He's like, why would I waste money on anyone else would have chartered a Gulfstream 5. They'd have a Gulfstream 5. This guy flies coach. I'm like, Ann, don't tell anybody this. It's embarrassing. Why is this coach? I'm my Mr. Diva and I got to fly private or have a, first class a cabin on Emirates that, no, Travis, it's just not about that. Travis is here for the Seeds for Change Foundation. That's what gets him out of bed in the morning. The other thing about Rain, before I leave this character metric, is the chance to work with Ann Feinstein. As she mentioned in the in the introduction, that beautiful introduction she gave me, I worked with her when we went through that stuff where that new owner came in and destroyed the company. I saw her in wartime, like I saw Jeff, and she was the rock. So I've been in the trenches with her. I've known her for 30 years, her husband, David, for 30 years. They're just good people. They're the kind of leaders that teams follow because they know this is a leader with integrity. All right, let's move on to another really important mental model, which is the product viability model, right? The first thing when it comes to products is I look for virality. Is this a compelling story? Is this water-cooled conversation that people are going to talk about after they've been in a presentation? Are they in a chat room telling their friends, hey, this company I just ranked, are they remarkable? Well, it's got to be a compelling story. That's to be a reason to be. You know how many network marketing companies are started because two guys were sitting in a bar down in schooners of beer, and one guy turns to the other one and says, hey, you know what we should do? We should start a network marketing company. And the other guy says, yeah, what should we sell? I mean, it's criminal almost. Rain is here because of seed-sourced nutrition. The brilliant, amazing scientific breakthrough that was hidden in plain sight. And when we heard the story of rain, when we heard about seed banks in the side of a mountain, in a fortress, we said, this is a story. So Casey, if you could pull up the video, one of the new tools that is part of Rain 2.0 is what we call the intrigue video, right? You create a 2 or 3 minute video to show someone to just pre-qualify. Are they interested? Are they a good candidate for the products? Are they a good candidate for the business? Or are they just not interested? So I'm not going to play the whole 3 minutes, but so Casey, would you just play the excerpt of this so people kind of see what this story is about?
In the northernmost latitude you can fly on a commercial airline, a mountain rises on a remote island located in the frozen wilderness of the Arctic Circle. On the side of that mountain is one of the most important resources for the future of humankind, a facility often referred to as the Doomsday Vault. While this might sound like the script from a James Bond movie, this fortress is quite real. However, this stronghold wasn't built to protect world leaders, military secrets, or missile silos, but seeds. This fortress is the Svalbard Global Seed Bank, essentially a massive safe deposit box protecting more than 1,250,000 seed samples at a temperature of -18 degrees centigrade against dangers such as war, pandemics, and natural disasters.
You can go ahead, yeah. So when we heard this story about seed banks and this fortress in the side of the mountain, we said, this is a product story that could go viral. This is something people will remember, because understand something, seeds are the basis of all life. When we go to the moon, when we go to Mars, when we go to any other planet in the universe, the most important payload in that spacecraft is going to be seeds. And any company, because, what is the story of seed source nutrition is a seed is 20 to 30 times more pure, more potent, more nutritional value than what it grows into. The seed of a cucumber is 20 to 30 times more nutrient dense than a cucumber. The seed of an apple, 20 to 30 times more nutrients than the apple itself. This is an amazing breakthrough that was hidden in plain sight. Anyone could have done the research, done the work, tested it, tracked it, worked on creating products. but only one company did, Rain International. Only one person perfected the process, the nutrient preservation protocol that guarantees the potency and the purity and the safety. And that person, Travis Perry. So that's the first big metric when we look at the mental model for products. But then we got to know, are they unique and exclusive? Are they consumable? What's the addressable market share? And I'll come back to that when we look at the trends model. Do they have demonstrable results? Rain products, people take them, they know they took them. This is a little cocktail I've made. I put the Pure, which is a biotic, prebiotic, probiotic. I have the lemon one in here. I have the fruit punch one in here. And then I have beet, which is our newest product, just launched. L-arginine, beetroot, bamboo. It's an incredible, right? These are products. If you have any gut issues, if you would like to have a good, clean, healthy digestive tract, you take the Pure products and you know it in a few days. This beet product, it's like a libido product. It's sexual health product. You take beet, I'm telling my friends, you will have the sexual energy of a 17-year-old, but without the acne, right? These are demonstrable products. If you take the Renew product, which is, for cleaning, keeping your blood clean. If you take the Soul Red, they're demonstrable. The other things I look for, do they create emotional connection? And then here's something that's going to shock 90% of the people who are watching this. Here's one of my other metrics in the product model. I look for premium products that appeal to wealthy people, not the opposite. See, a lot of people say, I want products that are cheap. I want the poorest people around to be able to buy my products. The problem with that, it's a terrible business model, because when you're racing to the bottom on price, all someone has to do to steal your customer from you is to sell their product for 1 penny less. It's the worst market situation to be in, to be selling to the lowest price common denominator. The thing you want to do is sell to wealthy people, prove the concept, bring the sales, make the company healthy, and then you bring down the cost of goods, and you'll be able to provide more products to more people at better prices. Think of Tesla. Tesla started with a $250,000 car. It was only for rich people. The only people who could buy the first Teslas were rich people. And then the next model came, and there was like a $80,000 or $90,000 model. There now the Cybertruck is there, right? I put in a deposit. I've been waiting for my Tesla Cybertruck for 6 months. They can't even deliver them. They can't, and that's a pickup truck, but it's going to cost me about $140,000. But then the next one is less, and now they have an affordable Roadster coming out. Anybody ever seen one of these things? It's called an iPhone. Do you remember when the iPhone came out? It was for rich people. It was like $1,800. You had rich people paying poor people to wait in line for 3 days at the Apple store so they could buy an iPhone. And then it came to $1,700 and $1,500 and $1,400. And now look at how big of a share of market that people have that are buying the iPhones. So the fact that pure digestive. This is the Rolls Royce of digestive products. Soul and Soul Red. They're the Bentley Continental GT of antioxidants. So what this does is it means Rain attracts a certain caliber of customer. See, there's a lot of people that they're not ready for Rain yet. They go to work in the morning, they stop at 7-Eleven, they microwave a burrito, and they eat it in the car. Then they go to work, and on their lunch break, they go to the lunchroom, and they get their lunch out of a vending machine. And then on the way home, they go through a drive-through, they buy a bucket of chicken, and they go home and they feed the family with a bucket of chicken. And they drink 10 diet sodas. And then they say, I need to go into Walgreens and buy some vitamins and minerals because I don't have a very good diet. And my health seems really bad. And my weight keeps going up and my energy keeps going down. And so they go in and they price shop for the cheapest vitamin mineral supplement. And they want a vitamin that costs them $5 a bottle. Garbage. Something that's compressed with 10,000 pounds of pressure into a pill that's just going to pass through their body, right? Go to the sewage treatment plants of any major city. They have filters, they have screens, and you will see millions and millions and millions of tablets and capsules and supplements that just pass through people's system, and they don't even get any value from it. That's not our market for Rain International. Our market is people who say, my wellness, my health, the health of my family is so important to me that I want the Rolls Royce of wellness products. I'm willing to invest in quality nutrition because I know that my health is the most important thing ever. When you look at products like Soul, Pure, Beet, these are state-of-the-art nutrition. And this is how you build a market. This is how you build a successful business. And this is ultimately how you help the most people. One of the foolish mistakes people make, I say, what made you choose that network marketing company? They say, I love the product so much, that's why I build the business. I would never build with any other network marketing company because I love my product line. That's crazy. That's foolish. I love In-N-Out Burger. I love double animal style In-N-Out Burger with French fries. But that doesn't mean I want to buy an In-N-Out restaurant. Why would I want to have an In-N-Out restaurant? And don't get me wrong, I'm not throwing shade on In-N-Out. If you own one of their restaurants, you probably make a lot of money. But why would I want to own one? I'm going to have the call at 3 a.m. when the alarm goes off, and the call at 6 a.m. because the cook is sick, and the health department I got to worry about, and the OSHA regulations, and my 85 employees, and the $2 million it costs me to invest, and all of the overhead and the headaches. Or I could be running a Rain International business, working from home in my Chewbacca pajamas, doing Zoom meetings with cute, good-looking people like you. So even though I love In-N-Out burgers, doesn't mean I'm going to build that company, right? I love Toomey luggage, but that doesn't mean I want to work at the Toomey store. If you're going to join a network marketing company, do the mental models. Look at all of these things. The compensation line, the product viability, the metrics of exponential growth, the corporate leadership team. There's, like I say, I've dealt with like 75 of them. All right, let's get into a really sexy one. Is this sexy, by the way? Tell me in the chat. I mean, I'm going deep here, right? This is not the kind of normal presentation you people expect. I'm taking you behind the scenes, So just put me in the chat. Hey, I like hearing this stuff. I like being a critical thinker. I like knowing, how to put a lattice work of mental models together. All right, looks like we're good to go. Now here's an incredibly sexy metric, the exponential growth metrics model. Now remember, and I've been a part of this, I know what it takes to create exponential growth. And I will tell you there's 5 metrics that have to be in place for this to happen. So let me share the first one we've already talked about, the compelling product story, the product viability. We already talked about that in the other model, so we don't need to repeat it here. The next metric I look at is the corporate team and the infrastructure. People like Jeff and Travis, and then Casey and Paul and Justin and Devin and all of the other GMs and the vice presidents around the world, the country managers. Rain puts boots on the ground. They've invested millions of dollars in offices and staff all over the world to support you. In my case, Ann and I looked at this and said, hey, we got a chance to get the band back together again, to work with Jeff Higginson and these other people who had an incredible time. And here's the other important thing about Rain 2.0 and why I say this metric is so important. As you know by now, Ann and I were originally hired to be consultants to build out Rain 2.0, to build out the marketing tools, the duplicable system. So that's 90% in place now. So a product catalog, gorgeous 4-color, beautiful catalog that highlights the Rain products and has helpful articles. It's a powerful recruiting piece. We're like one company in 1,000 that even prints these. Because what does every other company say? Well, that costs money. We create PDF files. We just do digital. We don't have money to print that. This is a mass market recruiting tool. It's the kind of tool you could leave in a seat pocket on an airplane or a ride share thing. Or if you meet someone, you're never going to see him again. You give it to them. You have your contact on the back. It's a powerful recruiting tool. A whole magazine on how you earn money in the Rain compensation plan. The new associate orientation. Again, Ann and I have spent the last year building out these tools. And what excites me as much as anything is the consulting firm I'm working with to develop some of the tech tools and further improve the mobile app and the back office. And how do we integrate artificial intelligence? And how do we integrate the latest technology, but do it in a way that can be duplicated by people in the field? So check mark there for Rain. The third metric is the compensation plan design. Let me tell you another stupid, foolish move that a lot of people make. They say, I'm joining ABC company because they have the highest comp plan payout in the industry. Sounds good. Looks good. Looks good on paper. You know what the problem is? It's a terrible idea. Because you know what happened to the last 10 companies who had the highest payout plan in the industry? They're gone. Do you know what happened to the last 50 companies that had the highest payout plan? The last 100 companies that had the highest payout in the compensation plan? They're all gone. Because that's a bad premise. You don't want to have the highest payout in the plan. You want a plan that has a clearly defined career path of where do you start? What do you do to get to the next rank? Do this, get this. Do this, earn this $200 fast start commission. Do this, earn this rank advancement bonus. Do this, qualify for a profit sharing pool. The whole thing is mapped out. Do this, get that. Everyone can see how they make money. The system can't be gamed, and it rewards people for taking the right behavior. You have some of these very high paying plans like the old school companies with the stair-step breakaway plans, if you're familiar with those. They work great for top leaders, except they need to have so many director legs or diamond legs or breakaway legs, whatever they're called in that company. They need so many that they always have to keep sponsoring 20 people every month to try to earn their high-level bonuses, and they never work down in depth. They never come down and work with you and work with your team. You need a compensation structure that rewards the right behavior, that rewards people for going down in depth. There's 3 inflection points in a compensation plan. First is the startup point. You need that people can make money when they first join. Fast start bonuses, fast start bonus matches, partner bonus, senior partner bonus. These are all elements of the RAIN compensation plan. So somebody can come in at the builders pack level. They get 5 builders to join them. They got their money back. Somebody can come in at the leadership pack level. They get 5 leaders to come in. They get their money back. There's money that you can make early. That's the first inflection point. The second inflection point is mid-level in the plan, when you get to the kind of the tipping point where people move from weekend warriors who do this 10 or 15 hours a week to wanting to go full time in the business. Now they're buying plane tickets, paying for hotel rooms. They're traveling to go to major events. They're traveling to go and support their long distance lines. You have to have enough money. And if you look at the RAIN compensation structure, this new enhanced plan that begins in June, it's the level between gold executive and platinum executive. That's kind of the area where this is when somebody's raised their hand and said, I'm really serious. I'd like to make a career out of that. And if you look at the enhanced plan that takes effect in a couple of weeks, there's money there for people there to get them over that hump. And then finally, you need money at the top for the leaders who really build a team of 20,000 people or 50,000 people. There's many plans out there that don't pay leaders any decent money, like unilevel plans, right? If you see somebody in a unilevel plan, if they build a team of 20,000 people, 90% of their team is out of their pay range. If they build a team of 50,000 people, 98% of the team is out of their pay line. So what happens is they'll go to some kind of generic network marketing training event and they'll realize, wow, I have 20,000 people in my team and I make $8,000 a month. And this lady I just met has the same size group, 20,000 people, and she makes $24,000 a month for the same group. You got to give what we call golden handcuffs. So when someone becomes a leader and they build a huge team, you reward them so they stay. Because if you don't, you have a leadership drain, and no company can sustain itself if they have a leadership drain, because as soon as people build a big team, they leave and they go somewhere else. So you got to balance the compensation plan there. So the next thing, the fourth metric of the 5 is sufficient financial strength. 2 words here. Travis Perry. That's the financial strength of Rain International. Give you 3 more words. Rock star CFO. Got a brilliant guy who handles that stuff. And here's an example. I'm going to be very careful how I say this, because I don't want to throw shade on anybody. I don't want to embarrass anyone. But for those who don't know, for 4 years, I've been working these mental models, looking for a company that I could take to my team who was with me, with Ann, with Jeff. When that company got sold and closed down, we tried one. I couldn't find anything that fit the metrics that was worldwide. So I gave people away. I called friends in Europe and said, hey, I've got some amazing leaders. I want you to talk to them. They need a home. I called people in Asia. I have amazing leaders. You need to talk to them. They need to find a home. Some of them found good homes. Some of them didn't. I've spent 4 years trying to do the metrics to find something for them. Ann and I got approached with something a couple of years ago. Product was amazing. Technology behind the product was amazing. I was this close to pulling the trigger. Okay, I found. And then, but this product took this really advanced system. I'll just call it biotech, because I don't want to give away anything and embarrass somebody, So it was a very complex, very costly process. And so I was going to go in the field. And so we started mapping it out. And I said, now you understand, if I join, I'm going to have about 150 people at the end of the first month in my team. If that goes well, I'll have about 1,500 people within 90 days. And it's conceivable that I might have 5,000 people within 6 months or 9 months or 10 months. And then the truth came out, they couldn't do the production. They didn't own the resources enough to ramp up, and it would have crashed and burned. But thankfully, thank God, I did my mental models and I pulled the plug before it was too late. And that company just got sold literally a couple of months ago, got scooped up because they were out of money and they were out of product, and the whole thing was falling apart. The fifth metric of the exponential growth model is elite field leadership. You got to have people who know how to lead a team. And Rain had some talented people. Byron Belka was a co-founder with Travis. Byron is a field guy from way back. Byron's amazing. There's other people. There's some guests dropping by this room who are leaders who are amazing, but they didn't have the tools. They didn't have the system. They didn't have the investment. And 2.0 fixes all that. Rain 2.0 changes all that. And this metric was the last one that I even worried about, because I know I can create the team. I can build the team, because that's what I do, as well as probably anybody on earth. So I wasn't worried about that at all. All right, so let's talk about the next mental model, which is the convergence of major trends model. I'll give you 7 of them. These are some of the biggest trends in the world right now, as I see it in my model. virtually all commerce becoming e-commerce, the explosion of artificial intelligence, AI. Listen carefully to this one. Wellness is being driven by sickness. Number 4, social media is eating the world. Number 5, the assault on millennial and later generations, meaning generations X, Y, and Z. The revolutionary sea change in how we work today, remote work, and side gig, the entire side gig economy. And then the last one is social entrepreneurship. People who want to be in business, but they want to do it in a way that improves the world. It isn't just about making money for them. They want to help make the world a better place. So what I do is I take that model and then I merge it with how does RAIN impact that model. And let's take the first two together. The world operates through e-commerce. Do you know there are companies that, most of the smart companies, they have good e-commerce operations. But when our company got shut down and Ann and I were looking, we went with a company from Latin America that assured us they had spent millions of dollars on IT and back office, and they can't do it. They couldn't operate in the first world because they had programmers in the third world who had never bought a product online, creating a web store for people in the United States. And they didn't know how to do it. Because I've been consulting with RAIN, because I'm privy to this consulting person who's working on the mobile apps and the e-commerce and stuff, and the artificial intelligence, which is the other part of this, I know it's going to be done right. Now, why I'm not saying that company or that person is because they're a secret agent as far as I'm concerned, because I don't want them working with any other company, okay? We have to lock them down, and we're working with them on stuff. And so that's why I say those two trends we're covered. Wellness, third trend, wellness is being driven by sickness. Here's what I think. I think wellness care is going to become the biggest mega trend in the world. Bigger than cryptocurrency, bigger than artificial intelligence, bigger than Taylor Swift. The single biggest trend in the world is going to be sick people who want to get well. Unhealthy people who want to get healthy. We are currently experiencing the most overfed but malnourished generation in human history. We are digging our graves with our teeth. The American diet is, it's fake food. Real food is fruits and vegetables and nuts. And then the vegans can argue with the meat eaters about the protein. That's real food. Cheetos, Fritos, and Doritos are not real food. Pizza is not real food. Candy and cookies and cake, M&Ms, they're not real food. But most of what the world is eating today is counterfeit food. And the epidemic of obesity and degenerative diseases is the result. So when I did my metrics of what kind of company I'm looking for, it had to be a wellness company. Now, don't get me wrong. Here's something else I want you to know. When people say, well, I'm working this company because I love the product. You should know I buy products from at least 5 or 6 or 7 different network marketing companies. right? You're probably looking at me right now and saying, my goodness, he has such radiantly beautiful skin. How does he do that? Well, part of it I'm going to attribute to Rain, because real healthcare, skin care comes from the inside. You got to have good nutrition. But I use a skincare line from a friend of mine who's in a skincare network marketing company. So I have no problem. There's, skincare companies and makeup companies and perfume companies, utility companies, cleaning products. But I didn't choose that because I don't think they're the optimum metric. The optimal metric that I'm looking for my team would be a wellness company. So the other categories are great, but one is better than the other. Social media is eating the world. That's the other trend. Here, it just goes back to the product story, the origin story for Rain. It's, the seed bank fortresses around the world on the side of mountains. It's the perfect story for the internet age. Plus, of course, I'm working with the team on the app improvements and the tech stack. So, all right, next one, the assault on millennial and later generations. And I do mean this is an assault. Casey, could you pull up the slide 6, please? Here's what you need to know about the millennials, XYZ. Look at this slide. The pre-tax income, your grandparents, 74 grand, your parents, 70, the later generations today, 56,000. Your grandparents, 14% of their income went to get a college degree. For a Gen X or Gen Y today, it's 42%. Your grandparents needed to, their house price to income the house was 3 times their income. Some young couple today who's want to have a baby and they want to buy a house, it's 7 times their income. Look at the next slide, please, Case. This next one is the share of 30-year-olds earning less than their parents did at 30. Look back to 1940 there, or I better put on my glasses or I'm going to be saying stuff and people are going to be canceling me. So 1940, look at it, it's like 80-some% were making more than their parents did at 30. And then look at where it was by 2010 and where it is today. This is the first time in decades that millennials, Gen X, Y, Z, they're making less than their parents did by the time they reach 30. Finally, the last slide, Casey. Again, just to show this is this market. This is one of the biggest growth drivers of our profession is the millennial and later generations people. Look at this chart of the white bars are the average of what people spend on health and wellness. The blue, dark blue is the Gen Z, and the lighter blue, Carolina blue, is the millennials. Look at those charts for appearance, health, fitness, nutrition, mindfulness, that's Bright, sleep, that's Rain products. So this market of millennials, which I believe is the driver of growth to our business, what you just saw these slides, these are part of the next generation presentation that's coming out to show the Rain opportunity, because we're going to laser focus in and help these kids that we have a responsibility. The amount of wealth that has been transferred to my generation, the baby boomer generation, the percentage of the wealth that went to us and now is taken away from the millennials and the Gen X, Y, Z, we have to fix that. And Rain is going to be a part of that. The whole economy, the culture we're setting with Rain. If we were doing this meeting 20 years ago, 15 years ago, we would have had a bunch of slides of Lamborghinis and, beautiful women in bikinis frolicking on the beaches and stacks of money. And we'd be talking about millionaires. We don't recruit that way with Rain. We're telling people, let's get you out of debt. Let's pay down your credit card. Let's pay off your cars. Let's get you debt-free as soon as possible. Let's empower people to do that. The sea change in the way we work, that was the sixth one, the remote work, the side gig. Again, the savvy companies know this and are doing something about it, but many of them are still not. But we have a marketing that addresses this, and we have the tech that makes it work. And then finally, social entrepreneurship. I think the most exciting one of all those 7 metrics, because that's the essence of RAIN, the Seeds for Change Foundation. The essence of RAIN is empowerment. You know what the foundation does, for those who don't know, like, we'll go to disadvantaged places in the world and help them acquire land, and we'll provide irrigation, and then we'll give them the seeds and let them grow their own crops, develop their own food, give them empowerment, not entitlement. And it's the same thing with the RAIN compensation plan. We have to get to people like my mother, who was a single woman who raised 3 kids knocking on doors selling Avon. We have to get to people like me, who was a high school dropout, who didn't have a college degree, wasn't getting offered jobs, who was in jail at 15 years old for armed robbery and burglary, who made a lot of terrible choices. But once I got a chance, when somebody believed in me and said, you are capable of great things. When I was introduced to leverage sales, network marketing, and they said, we don't care that you don't have any college degrees. It doesn't matter that you don't have experience. It doesn't matter that you don't have a lot of money to invest. If you have a dream and you're willing to work, you can create your destiny. That's the RAIN message. That's the social entrepreneurship we can do. All right, I got two more mental models I'm going to run through quick, and then I have a personal thing I want to share with you guys. This is what I call the power law model. The power law is very famous in investing and venture capital circles. The principle of, like, the power law in investing would be that one single investment creates returns larger than all the other investments combined. So, like, when Andreessen Horowitz invested in Facebook, they made more return on their investment with Facebook than with 1,000 other companies that they invested in, right? That's, again, we're back to that magical words, asymmetrical growth, asymmetrical risk. So how does this power law apply in direct selling? Well, there's a thing which we call category creators. That company, Agile Enterprises, that I worked with Ann and Jeff, we were a category creator. We were the first company to market with suspension gel technology. The gel packs that you see today in Soul Red, Core, Bend, that's the technology originally was developed for Agile. Agile was the first mover in the market. They were the category creator. And you know what we saw? That Agile dominated the market of gel packs. Even today, that company closed down 15 years ago. And there's companies that made gels in Germany. There's companies made gel in Thailand, other companies in the US. All over the world, everybody tried to knock off that concept, but nobody could equal the market share that the category creator did. With breath strips, right? Think of mouthwash. It was a dead category. There was no growth. Everybody who believes in mouthwash uses mouthwash. The people who don't believe in mouthwash, they don't use mouthwash. And you know who those people are because they're always sitting next to you on the plane, right? So what did Listerine do? They said, let's create a breath strip that people could just put in their purse, their pocket, their briefcase. And when they don't have time to brush their teeth and they're eating a meal on a plane, they could put in a breath strip. They created a new category. They were the first mover. What's the power law here? Seed sourced nutrition. Rain owns the category. Right now, Rain does 98.872439.6% of all the seed-sourced nutrition in the world because they created the category and they were the first mover. Like some of my friends, when they call me and they say, why did you join Rain? And I'm telling them about seed-sourced nutrition. And they say, well, anybody could do that. My company can go make products from seeds. Yes, they can. But you know what? It'll take them 10 years to catch up to where Rain is right now. Because they don't have Travis Perry. They don't have the technology. They don't have Dr. Daniel Beckles, head of the Scientific Advisory Board. Okay? This guy is the highest on the food chain you can get with doctors, okay? He's a transplant surgeon. Last Tuesday, when you were mowing the lawn, he was putting new lungs in somebody. On Thursday, when you were doing the laundry, he was transplanting a heart, saving somebody's life. This is the head of the Scientific Advisory Board. And you guys know Dr. Kita, Dr. Teresia, Dr. Cynthia, some of the other amazing people with Rain, right? The window, so believe me, I'll guarantee you in the next 2 years, because of what we're doing, there will be 6 or 7 new companies who launch that do seed source nutrition. And probably 20 or 30 of the old school companies are going to start developing products with seed source nutrition. But it'll take them 10 years to catch up. And when they get here, Rain will have already advanced. Because Rain has Dr. Beckles. It has Travis Perry. It has the nutrient preservation protocol. So that's a huge metric, is when you can be a category creator, when you can be a first mover in the market. Last mental model, which I think may be the most important one, is the model of contribution. One of the models I look at, the big models, is psychology. Again, why do people do the things they do? What causes people to join? What causes them to drop out? What causes them to stay for 10 years, for 30 years? And here is something I know with every fiber of my being. Every one of us has an innate desire to be part of something greater than ourselves. It's why people join movements, why they join religions, why they join gangs. People want to be part of something greater than themselves. And if you noticed, there's a title for Rain opportunity meetings. And the title is Be the Breakthrough. Because, of course, a very, very, very wise and kind man once said, be the breakthrough you wish to achieve. And that's what Rain is about. That's what Travis and Jeff and the corporate team is about. That's what Byron and Ann, myself, the diamonds, the Black Rain Diamonds with Rain, that's what they're about. And the Seeds of Change Foundation. You understand, there's a lot of companies that don't even have a foundation. There's other companies, the foundation is like a marketing tool. With Rain, that foundation is the very essence of Rain. Do you know Travis Perry goes into the office every single week and they do a meeting on what project could we do? Every time you market the Rain products, there's a percentage of those that goes to the foundation. And Travis puts up extra money all the time to fund those projects. So when you talk to someone about Rain, you get to talk to them about something where they can contribute, where they can truly be a social entrepreneur and become successful by helping other people reach success. All right, I just want to take a minute or two and just tell you my personal motivation. I'm an entrepreneur. I have to run. I've spent 4 years, I was like a thoroughbred locked in the stable. I had to get out of the stable. 4 years, I've been working these mental models, looking for something that I could present to my team. You understand? I retired when I was 40 years old, right? Remember, I come from a very poor family, single mom who raised 3 kids by herself. And I struggled for the first 35 years of my life. I was poor. By the time I was 40, I was rich, thanks to this profession. So right at 40 years old, right on schedule, I had my first midlife crisis. So I said, that's it. I'm going to retire. I'm going to play softball. I'm going to race my Vipers, and I'm going to drink out of a coconut. And I spent 9 months in the Viper Racing League and going around to softball tournaments and laying around drinking out of a coconut. And I went crazy because entrepreneurs are artists and artists never retire. So this is my new artistic project. This is what I was meant to do. I believe contribution is what gives us meaning in life. I don't need the money. I'm not in Rain for the money. I live in my dream home. I'm coming to you from my penthouse in a little island between Miami and Miami Beach. I have a 360-degree view around here. That's Miami Beach over there. I have Miami behind me. I'm in the middle of Biscayne Bay. I drive my dream cars. I work when and where I want to work. I have an amazing lifestyle. But I got to run. I got to do something because I think it's a crime to only work on things that you will live to see. I believe each of us have a responsibility from our Creator to build things that will be here after we're gone. You guys who were in Italy know, Ann and I told you from the stage, we are going to recreate the Battle of Thermopylae, this amazing movie that Zack Snyder did with the mythical battle where the 300 Spartans took on, 10 million people. We're going to create a team of 300 new Black Rain Diamonds. And we're going to empower those people. And we're going to bring in tens of thousands of people. And we're going to help millions and millions of people around the world. We're going to empower them with the nutrition, and we're going to empower them with the opportunity to create their financial freedom. So why am I back in the game? Because I want to be the breakthrough. I want to build something that's going to be here long after I'm gone. And I just wanted to take this very first meeting that we're doing for North America and speak to you from my heart and share with you why rain, why now, from my heart and from my head, from the mental models, almost 75 mental models, a lattice work of them, on why I believe that you have an opportunity to be part of a purple swan event that could transform your financial freedom and your prosperity and your mental health and your physical health for the rest of your life. So thanks for joining me. Annie, I will turn it back to you. Peace.
Wow. Thank you, Randy, for the amazing explanations and the heartfelt understanding of what each and every one of us have in front of us here with Rain International. The convergence of the trends, of the times, of the purpose of what people are looking for, and sharing your mental models to really give us a clear understanding as to why this is the perfect moment and perfect opportunity. So guys, if you're a guest here tonight, get back with the person that invited you. Be sure to ask the questions that you have, get the answers that you need, lock in your spot, and let me be the first to say, welcome home. Welcome to Rain International. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Record.